Hello and welcome to Whiskey Pour and 2 Ounce Tuesday. On today's 2 Ounce Tuesday, I'm gonna tear into my little brown box here of samples. We're gonna pull out 2 samples, each one having 1 ounce. We're gonna pour them into our beautiful Glencairn glasses here and do a blind side by side and see which one comes out on top. Roll the video. For today, again, if you followed me on the last video, we had a Knob Creek 12 versus a Frey Ranch, both of which taste really nice. I chose the Knob Creek 12 over the Frey Ranch. I enjoyed that more traditional classic bourbon flavor profile and aroma to it. And I really like that higher oakiness that the Knob Creek 12 offered over the Frey Ranch. But for today's video, we're gonna dig into this box, pull out 2 samples, see who we have head to head and which one wins. So I'm gonna choose, just so you see, box. They all have our little sips on them. I'm not cheating. So we got this one right here, we'll put there. And we're gonna go this one over here. Now, I have not replenished the box after the last video. I will do that when I get all the way through, or at least halfway through some of these samples. I don't wanna refill them too often just because I don't wanna skip over some of the bottles that I already have in there. If I refill it too quickly, I might end up doing the new ones before I do the ones that I previously added. And since I only fill the bottles halfway up, it is an experience of more oxygen to booze, and it could change the flavor profile. So I want to go through the ones that I put in there first before I refill it. So if you notice there are some missing, that's why, because they're missing from the last video that I shot. So we're gonna flip these over. We're gonna go sample 1 into glass A, which is gonna be on my right. And sample 2 is gonna go into glass B on my left, your right. Now we have some different bourbons in here, different offerings. I have some harder to find bourbons, things like Knob Creek 12s, which obviously got shot in the last video, 1792 12, Eagle Rare, Blanton's, Weller 107. I have some harder to find bottles, and then I have some very easy to find bottles. And so the reason I chose that was because I want to see how the mashups go between some of these hard to find bottles and some of these very readily available bottles like an Elijah Craig small batch, Redwood Empire pipe dream, things like that. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I've got sample A, or glass A, with sample 1, and glass B with sample 2. So let's look at the color of this. So this is a lighter color, which leads me to believe it's a younger age-stated bourbon, or non-age stated bourbon, potentially. Again, most of these are gonna be bourbon. There are a few whiskeys in that mix, but primarily gonna be bourbon. This has a very fruit-forward nose to it. It almost has this, like, honestly, it almost has this sweet tart. Not quite sweet tart, in that if you crunched up a sweet tart and, like, you know, held it to your nose, it's not that sweet, but it has that, it's like very fruity in that, oh, spilling whiskey everywhere, in the way that sweet tarts have this like artificial fruitiness, but not, I guess artificial is not the proper descriptor. It smells kind of like a fruit salad. As I spin it around here, I get more of a cherry or strawberry, red fruit aroma to it, comes out of it. Very strong cherry note comes out, and it has much more ethanol to it than I honestly anticipated. It's got a little more burn to it. So leading me to believe this is a higher proof whiskey than I'm anticipating, just based off of the color. Okay, proof has died down a little bit. Killed my nose hairs and, you know, singed them off. Nice, sweet cherry nose or strawberry nose to it, red fruits. maybe like a stone fruit. It's very fruity. I get much more fruit forward aroma on this than like oak or brown sugar or anything like that. Much more fruit forward on this one. Not a lot of oak. I'm gonna guess this is a younger bourbon or younger whiskey than probably like 6 years, 4 to 6 years old, would be my guess. Okay, this one's got a slightly darker flavor to it. So this is more of like a light, or like a light blonde or a light brown to it. This is more of that like caramely color to it. It's honestly, it's very dark. It's almost like maroony in a way. It's very caramel colored. Much sweeter nose, significantly sweeter nose. Wow, smells like, that smells great. I love that. That is awesome. I'm getting banana. I'm getting like syrup, pancakey, vanilla. Very sweet, decadent nose. Very nice, decadent, sweet nose on that for sure. These two side by side is a very stark difference because this is very decadent, very sweet. This one is very fruity, but not sweet fruity, more just like a non-ripe fruit. It has that fruity aroma to it, but it's not overly ripe. This is almost savory in a degree, not quite savory, but kissing a little bit of that savory aroma to it. This is like straight dessert, like just banana, cinnamon, maybe a touch of clove, very baking spice, banana, sweet. Right off the bat, very stark differences between these two. I am gonna guess this is a slightly higher proof than this one is, just because the ethanol in this has died down quite a bit, and this one I can smell. It's not ethanol, it's not boozy, but it's a fuller nose, a much fuller nose, which leads me to believe that this is gonna be a higher proof than this one is. Very thin. That on the tongue, across the palate, very thin. I get a little bit of cherry. It's not sweet at all. It's in and out, done. Short experience, doesn't linger at all. I don't get any lingering on the back of the palate. Doesn't coat my mouth at all. This is definitely a low proof bourbon. It's not grainy though, which means that it's probably not super young. Like I said, I think about 4 to 6 years. It's not complex in the nose. It's smooth, it's very smooth, but it's not overly complex. It's just a very smooth, easy drinking bourbon with not a lot of big pronounced flavors to it, but very easy drinking. This would be a great beginner whiskey because it's not high proof. Other than the one, initial sniff, I must have just sniffed it wrong. That initial sniff, it's not high proof on the nose, it's not high proof on the palate. It's very simple with a little bit of fruit in there and not overly complex. For someone who's just getting a bourbon, this would be a good starting bourbon for them. Almost like a pineapple in there. There's definitely a lot of fruit in this one. I get a lot of fruit out of that bourbon, out of that whiskey. This is just sweet decadence. This is amazing. Honestly, this has got to be something like, I don't know. This is good. I have a few guesses in my mind as to what I put in this box, and I know what I have in this box, and I think this could be, but this is very decadent and very potent nose. Very, like, you smell this and you're like, I want to bathe in this. I want to take a bath in this. This is delicious. Pour it all over me. Cover my entire body with it. Banana comes through, that cinnamon and like slight amount of clove come through. I was like baking spices. It's not as sweet on the palate as it is on the nose, to be completely honest. Well, I say that, and in the back end as I kind of re-swallow, I get this like residual sweetness from it, this almost like syrupy or brown sugary kind of sweetness from it. The nose is amazing on this, absolutely fabulous. Get the banana, the vanilla. But it's less sweet on the palate than it is on the nose. So this is a very easy drinking bourbon. This one has a little bit more going on with it, which makes me like this one more. So off of my taste profile, I'm gonna choose Glass B. That makes 2 out of 2 that I've chosen Glass B so far. So let's see who we got. Okay, so I'm gonna throw out some guesses. This is very soft and delicate. I'm trying to think what I put in the box that I feel like could match up with that. And honestly, I don't have a solid guess on this. That's a hard one. I don't have a really solid guess on this. I think this is gonna be, if I had to guess, I think that this is gonna be Jack Daniel's Triple Mash, because it has some of those Jack Daniel's aromas to it. It has a Jack Daniel profile on the taste, but it's not as full flavored as my other guess. So I'm gonna say Jack Daniel's Triple Mash on this is my guess. That's 100 proof. I don't honestly have a good guess for this one. Oh, I'm trying to think of what I put in there. Yeah, I don't know. It's not as flavorful though. Okay, let's see what we got. Blanton's, okay. I gotta be honest. That's a shocker. I'm not the biggest fan of Blanton's, straight up, I'm not, but that has, it's easy sipper, it's fruit forward, a little savory, but it was not nearly as complex or enjoyable of an experience as this is. Now I'm interested to see what this is, because if I'm right and this is Jack Daniel's Triple Mash, that is a very low bar, and it is Elijah Craig Small Batch. Holy shit, okay. That's crazy. That's nuts. Wow. This is why I did this. This is why I wanted to do these blinds like this, because I get some very easily, readily available bourbons, and I get some of these bourbons that are a lot harder to get, go for way more money than MSRP. This is, in my area in Oregon, this is a $60 bottle is what I bought these for, but now they go for $65. In most areas, these are $100, $200, $300 bottles. Elijah Craig Small Batch in my area is like $29. I've gotten them in California for like $25. This is, oh my God, that's crazy. This is so much better than this is. For me, this is more of that like classic bourbon flavor to it than Blanton's is. I've compared Blanton's to a lot of other Buffalo Trace products, but this is the first time that I have compared it to a non-Buffalo Trace products in a blind side-by-side. This Elijah Craig blows Blanton's out of the water. It's, oh my God, that's crazy. Well, there you go. Elijah Craig Small Batch beat out Blanton's Single Barrel. Boom.